In this video, I'm going to show you how to build the ultimate water toy, a wakeboard with a hydrofoil attached to it. Oh my God, this thing is so fun. I can't believe there's not a commercial version on the market available yet. But don't worry, you can build one yourself. If you're an avid water sports person like I am, for sure you have a few old wakeboards laying around waiting to be repurposed. So why put a hydrofoil on a wakeboard? Well, if you're an avid wakeboarder like me, you get out to the lake and here's my sticker: no skis, no tubes, no bullshit. And you got everybody and their brother out there churning the lake to a froth. It looks like the frickin' ocean, and there isn't a speck of glass to go out there and carve. So what do? You put a hydrofoil on your wakeboard and you can fly along 2 feet above the surface of the water, easy as pie. And oh my God, it's so fun. And guess what? It doesn't take a $125,000 computer-controlled wake-producing machine to function brilliantly. Any old ski boat or any boat that's capable of holding a steady 12 to 14 mile an hour is going to work with a hydrofoil. It's so efficient that there's very low drag while it's pulling you through the water. There's two methods of using this: the traditional long line water ski method, and you can just go way out and do some carves and just ride and try to control your height. But hey, the other method is you can surf these things. And not only can you surf them without a special generated surf and filling up fat sacks and doing all kind of things to your boat to try to make a huge wave. This thing will surf just about any wake as long as it's got a decent shape to it. But not only that, it opens up the possibility that you can surf behind an outboard or an IO. How's that? You don't have to surf the primary wave. And I never really paid any attention to it, but on the back of your boat, there's a secondary and third wave way back that we totally ignore. Well, hey, that's prime territory for one of these wakeboards. So you can surf the secondary wave and you're well away from the prop. So guess what? There's no danger of doing a face plant into the prop and getting chopped up to fish food. All right, enough of that. Back to the build. How do we make this amazing toy? Well, as you can see on this, we repurposed one of my old liquid forced wakeboards. And you can see that the bindings have been moved to new locations instead of the centered location that you normally would use for wakeboarding. For foiling, it's all about balance and the wing and getting the center of gravity loading into the wing. So the first thing we ended up having to do was, here's your normal mounting holes for your bindings, and then there's a second set here. We used the first hole in the second set, and we determined this through lots of research and development. And then the back hole we had to drill. So it's mainly drilling a hole straight through your board, putting a washer and a bolt coming up from the bottom, and setting a comfortable angle for your front foot. Now on the back binding, here's your front set right here. And then this is your back set underneath this reinforcement plate. So we used the last hole and the back set into that insert. And that just happened to line up with one of our fin holes. So I didn't even have to drill a hole in my board for the back. And you can see how we angled it slightly rearward. So there's your binding locations. And as I said, this was a research project, and we've done multiple versions to figure out the best location of everything. Our original location for the foil mount was right here, hence these 4 bolts. But now you can see where our mast is. It's well back and partially under your rear foot. And this location that we've been riding, this is slightly biased for wake surfing. So for long line hydrofoiling, you're going to want to move the foil forward slightly so that you don't have to use as much back foot pressure to bring the foil up. I guess this is a part where there's a quick little discussion on how the hydrofoil works. So it's very similar to wake surfing, except opposite. So in wake surfing, front foot pressure, and you go faster, back foot pressure, and that's your brakes. Well, in foiling, back foot pressure brings you up, and you're flying, and then you control or get to a balance point and try to maintain the altitude you come up to. And then front foot pressure pushes the board back down to the water. Now, it works different when you're surfing it. And one of the things I recommend when you're trying to learn is, in your first attempts, bias yourself to the outside of the wave so you can heel outside of the wave as you come up onto your board. Why is that? Because whenever you cross your wake, you end up getting lift from the wave, and that's what happens. So if you're outside the wave and then you ease over into it, all of a sudden this front wing is going to generate a bunch of lift from your wake, and your board is going to have a tendency to porpoise up and possibly breach. And breaching's bad. That generates an elevator drop. So when you're surfing, you ease into it, and at the same time, you're putting front foot pressure down to hold the board down so that it doesn't pop up and breach. And it's another super fine balance point. And it's going to take a while to learn, but believe me, it's definitely possible, and we'll show a little video of that later on. And just to recap on the binding locations, if you're trying to build a board or something, we're looking at close to 2 foot center to center on the bindings, and maybe center of the binding to the back of the board 8 inches, maybe 7 to 8 inches. So here's the heart of the build, the Slingshot hydrofoil with the H2 wing and the standard rear wing. Originally, we bought the mount, the mast, and the fuselage, and we tried to do it cheap and build our own wing. And we actually were pretty successful. We took some composite material and cut a foil shape on it, and it certainly would lift a 200-pound person out of the water. The problem was this thing was only 18 inches wide, and the factory wing is 26. So it was, to say the least, very turny. And what happens, we had it on a wake skate, and it had a tendency to want to roll out from under you. And when it rolled out, it tipped the foil up like that, and it was like pulling a rug out from under you, and you would be shish kebabbed by the end of the foil. So we had to dramatically change our thought on how to build this thing and have something safe to ride. So on the factory foil, the ends are flared to a blunt tip, and that greatly enhances safety if you would fall on the foil. But by going the wakeboard route and putting bindings on, we've pretty much totally eliminated the possibility that you can fall on this foil, and it greatly enhances the safety of this product. The only thing that's dangerous is it's dangerous to fish, because you can slice them up with this thing. So schools of shad, watch out. I would highly recommend going with the factory wing. They've gone on sale. They've price dropped down from close to $600 down into the $300 range. So we knew we couldn't make the mast and the mount bracket. And the fuselage on the H2 is keyed in to the carbon. And so these two bolts here just attach the fuselage to the mast, and then this back bolt here attaches the wing to the mast, or to the fuselage.